Let's, I think, reflect on the latest on the transport situation, because we've got some more strikes coming ahead with the RMT union outlining stoppages next week. That's likely to affect most of the network. I think we can join Ellie Costello now, our correspondent, who I think has got Mick Lynch there, Ellie, for us.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Mark. We're just outside the Houses of Parliament here. You can see behind me it's very busy here. That's because it is a strike action from TUC. They're rallying today. They will be lobbying Parliament. They are asking for action on the cost of living crisis, and they are also calling for a general election. Now, they represent 5.5 million working people in the UK, and those people belong to 48 different unions. One of them is the RMT, and I'm very pleased to say that the General Secretary, Mick Lynch, is next to me now. So we've heard and seen a lot from you this summer, Mick, with the rail strikes, but you are here as part of that wider action with the TUC. Tell us what you're calling for today.
Well, the lobby today is about the new anti-trade union laws that are piled on top of the existing ones, where they are trying to make the right to strike and the ability to strike virtually illegal. And the measures that they're proposing, which were published last week, would mean that people could be named, in effect conscripted, to go to work during disputes, which would make strike action virtually impossible to carry out on a lawful basis. So those laws are an infringement on civil liberties, they're an infringement on human rights and the right to strike. And we're here to oppose that. We think that every progressive person, every Democrat should be against that. And we've had an array of parliamentarians and MPs here today, and we've got to oppose it. It's a restriction of freedom. And it's also a restriction of the ability to campaign against poverty. We've seen the impoverishment of British people on a continuous basis for the last 2 or 3 years. That's getting worse and worse. And what they're trying to do is clamp down on protest through the police bill that they're bringing in, but also the anti-trade union laws, which are the trade unions are a basis for which people can rely, and they are the hope of working people in some ways. So if we haven't got effective trade unions, we haven't got an effective democracy. So we're here to lobby against that and join with the other trade unions and the parliamentarians to oppose this government's draconian steps.
So, Mick, you're here to lobby against that bill about minimum service levels. I mean, the government would say that they need those minimum service levels because they don't want to see the country held to ransom, as some would say they've seen happen this summer. They want people to be able to get to their hospital appointments, to get to school. We see these kind of bills in France and in Spain is already implemented. Is that not reasonable?
Well, we don't have these kinds of laws in France or Spain. That's what the government tell you. They've not ever been used in France or Spain or Italy or Germany. So they've never implemented these laws. They're there for national emergencies, not for regular trade union disputes. What this government should be doing is getting around the table or getting their advocates, the train operating companies and Network Rail, to settle a dispute. We've got a new Secretary of State who we're hoping to meet. We've got a new rail minister who we can meet. There is a settlement available to these issues. They are straightforward industrial disputes. We're not holding anyone to ransom. And in fact, the public seem to be on our side, we believe, because they're being ripped off by this government in terms of their fares, but also in their workplaces. Everybody's not getting a square deal at the minute, and they want effective trade unions to counterbalance what the companies and this government are doing to them.
And Mick, will the public continue to be on your side, as you say? We've seen a summer of strikes. We've got another one coming this Saturday. We've got more strikes next week as well on the London Underground. I mean, it seems relentless for people. Where are you up to in your dispute with Network Rail?
Well, we think we've been very measured. We've taken 8 days of action, and we're going to take some more in the next few week or so. So we've spaced that out and gave people a break. We have to give 2 weeks' notice under the law. So we're taking quite a measured approach. We haven't gone all out. We're not disrupting every day of the week. We don't want to disrupt people. We want to run a service on behalf of the public and on behalf of the economy. We think the measures that they're going to bring are unsafe. They're going to cut back on maintenance regimes to achieve cuts in staff and cuts in funding. And we think that's a dangerous step. So we think we've got the public with us. The quicker we can settle this, the quicker the better for all of us. But the government holds the key to a settlement, and they've got to change the equation on their side of the table so that we can create a settlement with the companies that we are dealing with.
Mick Lynch, really good to have you with us this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. Well, there you go. Those are the thoughts of Mick Lynch, the General Secretary of the RMT. It is a very busy day of lobbying this afternoon. At 2 p.m, hundreds of members of unions up and down the country, they're going to be lobbying their MPs inside the Houses of Parliament. They're going to be asking for action on the cost of living, and they're also going to be calling for a general election. And at 6 p.m. this evening, Mark, we're going to see a rally in Westminster Hall where hundreds of union members from all across the UK will be gathering with speakers such as Mick Lynch. He'll be speaking a little bit later, and Francis O'Grady as well from the TUC, and they're expecting hundreds of people to turn out, and they want their voices heard.
OK, Ellie, for the moment, thank you for that. But back to you to Westminster throughout the afternoon as we see those developments.